Hey, it's time for another episode of Damien Ruins Horror Movies. My name is Damien. Tonight we're back to Tales from the Crypt, Season 2, Episode 11. Judy, you are not yourself today. And as per usual, this episode is brought to you by Cool Dude Inc. Go down to the description and click the link. Go make yourself look good. Let's kick things off with the Whiskey Bat, so you can listen to on Spotify. And there's a link in the description below for their YouTube channel. Go check it out. Judy is married to Donald. He's kind of a paranoid gun nut, and Judy won't let him smoke in the house, which is kind of weird. Judy is played by Carol Kane, who's from Taxi and When a Stranger Calls. But, okay, why would you marry somebody who's like if you're not into guns, why would you marry somebody who's totally into guns? And if you're not into smoking, it's like, what do you, like your political affiliation shouldn't define you as a person, but it kind of does. You know, unless, I mean, this isn't like the 50s where it's like, oh, I guess their relationship kind of is like the 50s though. She's the stay-at-home woman who takes care of the house, even though they have no kids. And he's the man, I like guns and I smoke. And I need my guns because they protect me, which it's like, yeah, you're kind of a bitch. That's what it sounds like to me. If you need guns that bad, you're that paranoid that somebody might hurt you and you have to shoot them. Donald leaves for a gun show. And after he leaves, an old lady shows up. And it just happens to be the old lady from Seinfeld that Seinfeld stole that Marlboro Rye from.
Shut up, you old man!
Yeah, it's the same lady. And she looks as old then as she did in that episode. I guess, granted, it was only maybe 6 years. But she goes door to door selling beauty supplies and convinces Carol Kane, Judy, that she needs some. And Judy's like, oh, you can help me look more beautiful? And she invites her in, cigarette and all. Old lady's just like, yeah, you could use some. Your pores look terrible. I got just the cure. I don't know. It's funny because she goes door to door, but then she gets kind of stingy when you actually want something. She's kind of like, well, I don't know. But she's got all this weird jewelry on. Like, she looks like a fucking witch. It's not like she's some sweet looking old lady. I mean, she looks like bad news. And Carol Kane is just like hypnotized by, wow, you can make me more beautiful. So she lets her in. She's like, wow, that necklace looks cool. The old lady's like, you want to try it on? And Carol Kane's like, would I? And she puts it on, and then the old lady's got another one just like it on her knees where she activates it and this green light emanates and you hear like this scream. Later, Donald comes home and he finds the old lady there. And the old lady claims to be Judy, and he's like, what? You are not my wife. My wife is like 40 years younger than you. You're not her. And then he starts asking her a series of questions that only she could know. And she gets them all right. And he's like, what the fuck? You can't know that. You could not know that unless you're her. But there's no way you can be her. You're not her. Like, he's totally like, this is crazy. But she's trying to explain, like, hey, my body's been stolen. It's me. There's an old lady out there in my body. Just then, he gets a phone call. It's his buddy at the train station bar. It's a weird place for your buddy to be hanging out with. But he's like, hey, man, your wife's down here, and she's acting totally strange. You need to get down here because Judy is not herself today. So Donald's like, all right, cool. Now I know where to go. I'm going to go down to the train station. And Judy's like, old Judy is like, oh, cool, I want to go too. And he's like, all right, go get your coat. She's like, all right. And she goes in the coat closet, and he slams the door and locks her in there. He's like, hey. And he leaves without her. So he gets to the train station and he sees her. She's getting ready to go to Vegas. And he's like, And he sees a headline, something about some lady's baby's being saved by cancer or living despite having cancer or something. But it like triggers that light bulb. He's like, bing. So he goes up to her. He's like, Judy, what are you doing? She's like, And somehow she because she shouldn't know who she is. She didn't see him. They didn't talk. he never talked to the old lady before she was Judy, but somehow she figures out, she knows. Maybe he said enough. He was like, hey, baby, don't go. Stay. But he's quick thinking on his feet, because first he locks the old lady in the closet. Well, that was pretty quick thinking. But then seeing that newspaper with the cancer, he's like, baby, don't go. You only have like maybe a month left before the cancer totally takes over. I thought we were going to spend that time together. And she's like, cancer? And it turns out it's not a one and done. She's like, well, I don't want this body anymore. And she's like, whoa, and she switches it back. So Judy is back in her old body again. They go back to the house. They can hear the old lady in the closet. She's pounding on the door like, get me out of here, get me out of here. And they get home and they hear the panic. And he's like, yeah, aren't you glad I got all these guns? And he pulls out his gun. And with all the grace of a white cop in a black neighborhood, he just starts shooting everything. He's like, boom, 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 like shooting his own shit. And somehow he managed to get her. And then the closet door also opens at the same time she dies, and her body just kind of lands. And they're both relieved. And somehow Judy's like, my hero. And they make fuck on the floor next to the old lady's body. But I mean, it makes it so he's kind of right. All the stuff that he told her in the beginning of the episode where he's like, hey man, you can't just let anybody into your living room. You can't let the world into your living room. He's right. And now he's got to deal with it. Turns out he's a little bitch when it comes to guns. He just likes having them and showing them off because it makes it, it's like, I can go to the gym every day or I can just buy guns. After the fucking, he goes down to the basement and digs a hole because the floor of the basement is like just dirt. So he digs a big hole and he puts her body in there. But Judy's still obsessed with that stupid goddamn necklace. How could you want to go anywhere near that necklace after having left your body, entered an old body, almost got trapped in said body, and now you're back? You should be happy. You should be like throwing that thing off a cliff into the ocean, into the Grand Canyon, somewhere far, far away from you. And she's like, well, that necklace is beautiful. It's like, you can't not know that the necklace is responsible for the shit you went through earlier. But Donald is smart enough to know, like, hey, no. I've already tried to crush it. I've tried to grind it. I've tried to do everything I can to destroy it. Nothing works. It's going in the safe where nobody can get to it and no bad shit can happen with it. 3 months later, Donald is still haunted by the body in his basement. Judy's still haunted by that goddamn necklace in the safe. Donald wakes up as Judy's coming back to bed. And he's like, oh, are you haunted by the body too? And she's like, meh. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna dig it up and bury it somewhere else, man. I can't stand having it in our house anymore. It's creepy, and I can't stop thinking about it. And she's like, you're gonna do it tonight? That was kind of funny. She's like, you're gonna do that tonight? He's like, no, I'm going back to sleep. First, I'm gonna go get some milk. He goes downstairs to get himself some milk. He shuts the door, and there's the old lady's corpse, 3 months old. And she's like, help me. And he's like, oh shit. And he grabs his gun, and the old corpse lady, Marbury, is like, hey, it's me, it's Judy. I'm back in this body again. He's like, what the fuck? And then all of a sudden he sees Judy coming down the stairs, like all dressed up like she's getting ready to go somewhere, like she's going to leave town again in the middle of the night. And he's like, wait a minute. He's like, God damn it, what happened while I was sleeping? And so Judy's like, oh my God, what is, like, looking horrified at the corpse too. Like, she didn't know it was there. He's like, oh, don't worry, Judy, I'll take care of this. Here's the keys. Go grab the Jag and meet me out front. She's like, okay, honey. He's like, Judy, we don't have a Jag. That's his give. We don't have a Jag. And now it's like, that proves you're the old lady and Judy's in that goddamn corpse. So he and Judy, his wife Judy, him and his wife's body have a little altercation. He's got the gun out. He has no business holding a gun in the first place, and he accidentally shoots her. And I was like, oh fuck. And just then she's like, oh, I don't want to die. Which is weird because she's gonna die from this wound. So she's like, I'm gonna go back to that fucking 3 months old corpse body instead. And she's like, in the green emanation, and she shifts bodies, and then his wife's like dying in his arms, and he's like, oh fuck, Judy, no. And she dies in his arms. And I don't know what the moral of that story is. Don't have guns. Don't let strangers in your house. Don't do stupid shit. I don't know. You got me. But that's the end of this episode. There are more to come if you like the content. If you like what you're seeing, like, subscribe, share. Most of all, subscribe. And turn on the notifications because these drop whenever. And I will see you next time.